Hello again, everybody. This is Sangwadzi Spiweka Chizamapumo. I've got a new podcast called Inspired Voices with Sangwadzi, and I'm looking forward to talking to more and more people who you know, I'm always bringing amazing guests, and these people are ordinary people who are doing extraordinary stuff. And my podcast be a weekly podcast, 30 minutes of talking to amazing voices, people who talk to us about inspiring information, educational information. And I know you will follow me. I will bring this every Saturday. Today, I've got an amazing young man. My first guest on Inspired Voices is Jules Hastig. Jules Hastig is a young man. He's coming in from Florida. He lives in Orlando, Florida, and he's a golfer. He's an international golfer. He's only 19 years old. Can you believe this? Anyway, welcome to the program, Jules. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good. Now, as I said earlier on, you're only 19 and you're an international golfer. Talk to me about what you do. Who is Jules Hassing? I know you were born in Ecuador, but your father is Zimbabwean. Talk to
Yes.
me about who you are and your journey in golf, because you're very young to be doing this.
Yeah, so my name is Jules. I'm 19 years old, like you said. My mother is a diplomat. She works for the Swiss embassy, and my father is Zimbabwean. He was born in Zimbabwe. So I was born in Ecuador. At the time, my mom was posted and she was working there. And over the course of my life, every 4 years, we've moved to a different place due to my mom's occupation. And I've got to learn, different cultures and live in different places all over the world. And I just graduated high school in Thailand, which I absolutely loved. And now I'm pursuing my golf dream in Orlando at Rollins College. I'm a freshman, and I hope to continue to play good golf and see where that takes me. So my dad's always played golf. Growing up, I played soccer or football, as whatever you want to call it. And I was always passionate about sports. Thankfully, when we did move to Asia, my parents were living in a country called Burma. Uh, my dad introduced me to golf. I was kind of already familiar with it, but I never really had that same passion for golf as I did for soccer. So I started picking up golf a little bit, and during COVID, I didn't have that many hobbies to do. So I would go play golf with my father, and I really enjoyed it. So I fell in love with the game, and I haven't looked back ever since. I've been practicing, and I aspire to be a professional golfer one day.
Wonderful. So how many years have been to play? You're 19 now. You started playing when you were 14?
Yeah, I would say about 14.
Mhm. And before that, you never played.
I didn't. I played maybe once a year on occasion when I had the chance to, but I wouldn't go out of my way. My main thing was soccer back in the day.
Mhm. Have you, okay, tell me about some of the big tournaments that you have played. I spoke to you earlier on and you told me something totally amazing, which I never thought. Tell me some of those the tournaments that you played.
Yeah, so in Thailand, there's a lot of good golf tournaments and junior programs in Thailand. So that's kind of where I started playing golf tournaments and started to become more competitive. And over the time, building a good ranking and kind of putting my name out there, I was able to get not invited, but more accepted into bigger tournaments. And I had the pleasure of coming back to Zimbabwe in April and playing in the Zimbabwe Junior Open that was hosted by Capital Bank, and I really enjoyed that. I played pretty well. I came tied third in a pretty strong field. There was quite a few South Africans who came up to play. I've also played in other big tournaments like the St. Andrews Links Trophy, which they play every summer at the iconic St. Andrews Old Course. And later that summer, right before I started college, I also played a pretty big golf tournament called the U.S. Junior Amateur, which was hosted up in Detroit at Oakland Hills Golf Club, which is very highly skilled golfers, and only really the best junior golfers are able to get into that tournament. So I had the opportunity to play in that, which I got so many learning experiences from.
What's your handicap? I mean, I'm not a golfer myself, but I
Right.
do know that for those who play golf, you do have a handicap. Sometimes 26, sometimes we're down to like 6. What's your handicap?
So I would consider myself to be a scratch golfer. My handicap were to be zero. It's difficult when you play international golf because you don't play the same golf course every day, and that's
Mhm.
usually how you keep a handicap. Is you take lots of rounds and you take some of the best ones, and it gives you a good idea of where you stand. But I would consider myself to be a scratch golfer.
Well, what I'm understanding is scratch golfer is like top golfer,
It's
right?
it's decent. I would say the professionals are even better. They're plus handicaps. But to play college golf, I would say if you're around a scratch golfer, you're going to do pretty well in college golf.
Uh, Tell me who some of those big international golfers that we all know, like the Tiger Woods. Who have you played? Somebody who I could say, really, you played that guy?
So I've actually, funny you say that, is I played against Tiger Woods' son, Charlie Woods, at the U.S. Junior that I had mentioned previously, and I've also played against some other good golfers who were at the U.S. Junior who are now doing extremely well in college golf, um, and even aspire to be pros like myself. So some of the big names would be people like Charlie Woods. When I played at the St. Andrews Links, I played against a couple people like Callum Scott, who actually ended up playing in a big major golf tournament, the Open. So I would consider those to be pretty highly skilled golfers
Yeah.
that I've competed against.
Uh, have- do you when you played in Zimbabwe? What are your thoughts about the level of golf in Zimbabwe? I do have
Mhm.
some friends who play golf in Zimbabwe, but as I said, I'm not a golfer myself. But how did you see it?
So when I went back to Zimbabwe, which I love to go back. I'd like to go practice, or my place to practice is Royal Harare, which there's lots of good talent in Zimbabwe. What I've noticed is there's a lot of young players like myself when I was 14 and 15 who are picking up the game and are looking now. They're way better than I was when I was 14 years old. Um, and I think Zimbabwe has lots of talent. It's just a matter of giving those kids the opportunity to go and play. When I did go and play, I felt like I played pretty good golf, and I still didn't win. I was 3 shots short of winning. So there's definitely good talent in Zimbabwe, and I'm excited to see where some of these young Zimbabweans can go.
So you now you're going to school. You're freshman in Orlando, right?
Mhm.
Are you on a scholarship, on a golf scholarship, or
I am. So when I was looking into colleges, I had to take, because as an international student, it's very difficult for college coaches in America to recruit you.
Mhm.
You're not actually there for you to speak to, and they can't watch you play in person. So I went out of my way. I made a YouTube channel. My brother
Mhm.
helped me film all my videos so that I could send them to the coaches, and luckily, I was able to get scholarship, and that's a main reason why I chose the school that I go to now, is mixed with my academic, with doing pretty well in high school and scoring well on the SATs and the TOEFL. I was able to
Mhm.
score pretty good academic scholarship and then combine that with an athletic scholarship that my coaches
Mhm.
provided me with.
So what are you studying?
I want to major in psychology, and I want to maybe double major. I'm still undecided whether I want to double major or minor in international business. I aspire, to stay within the golf industry. And
Mhm.
nowadays, golf is such a mental sport that a lot of golfers can hit the ball great and they have the physical talent and ability. It's just whether they can stay mentally strong and apply those skills in the right way. So I'd like to study psychology, um, do a minor in international business, and kind of put those two things together and stay within the sports psychology and golf industry. Um, that's what I'd like to do.
That is fantastic. I mean, to me, it's just um, totally interesting to listen to a young person who has taken this route and taken this sport rather seriously. Because ordinarily, you don't really hear of young people who get into it, except a few here and there. But an ordinary person. I'm talking to a Zimbabwean. I like to call you Zimbabwean, though you were not born there, but you still identify well with Zimbabwe, with the Zimbabwean father, who could inspire us and talk to other young kids who might be interested in playing golf, but don't see the future in it, or just feel like, oh, I really can't do it because I can just play soccer. I know you like soccer, but I mean,
Mhm.
there are other options, and it's, um, you probably could make a lot of money if you become a pro, right?
Right, absolutely. I think, if I were to have any words of advice, is for me, I had the chance to, travel around the world and try
Hmm.
different things. I played soccer, and in the time, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a professional soccer player, and there's nothing get in between that. But having an open mind, and with the COVID, it kind of set things back. Golf is a bit easier, during COVID. You don't need anyone to play with. You can go out there on your own. But I think being open really helped me, at least. That I was always kind of against golf. I'm like, no, Dad, I don't really want to play golf. I don't really want to play golf. But then when you're open minded and you try new things, and you learn that you have a love for things that you wouldn't know otherwise if you didn't try.
True.
It's extremely hard to be very good at multiple things. So when you try a lot of things and you finally zone and hone into one
Hmm.
thing that you love and that you're good at, I think that's a recipe for success.
Oh, definitely. Because once you find your niche, you just pursue it, you follow it, and you believe in yourself. You're good, and you're playing with other people who set standards for you. And you like, I can be that. I'm only 19, right? You look at yourself and
Absolutely.
said you're only 19. You can go. You played with. Did you play with? Did I read somewhere that who is the oldest person you played with?
Sorry, the oldest?
Yeah,
I played at the St. Andrews Links. I played with two golfers who are nearly done college that were extremely good.
yeah,
In Zimbabwe, I played um, with a South African or two South Africans. But I'm pretty familiar with some of the Zimbabwean golfers like Keegan Shutt, like Braden Am, and those guys are pretty good.
yeah. Yeah, those are good players. Those are people. Those are known players in Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
right? Hmm.
Mhm.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have an older brother who also likes to play golf. He was also a big soccer guy like I was. We both grew up playing soccer together.
You're African. You play soccer, of
Yeah,
course.
exactly. So, yeah, I do have an older brother. He's now working in Kansas City, and
Hmm.
it's nice that we're all in America now. I'm in Florida. My brother's in Kansas City, and
Hmm.
my parents are in Atlanta.
Hmm. Any sisters?
No sisters, no.
Just your boy. Does your mom play golf?
A little bit. I mean, if my mom's pretty good at golf. She won't go and play in the cold like I will, but occasionally, if she's around and or, like the whole family's together, yeah, she'll come out and play a few holes with us.
Have you ever played her or
Yeah,
played
yeah.
with her?
When I was really young, I used to play like a little bit, and my mom would whip me. She was way better than me
Who
when I
whooped
was
you at
little.
it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so tell me, your experience in golf. Who have who are some of the people who have inspired you or impacted the way you play golf or
So
influenced you?
yeah, definitely. I think my dad is a big part of my golf. Is He's kind of the reason that I got into it. And I thank him, that he's given me the opportunity to even try to play golf and then to pursue it.
Mhm.
But I was also fortunate enough during COVID to move to Thailand and go to boarding school there for 2 years, where I had a great support team. I had nutritionists, I had golf coaches, I had like fitness coaches, and
Mhm.
that support team really motivated me and took my game from a beginner level to a more experienced level. So looking back, I think Thailand was a great learning experience for me. Those 2 years, I learned more than I ever have in my life.
Mhm.
And some of my biggest idols, I mean, I love Tiger Woods. What he's done, it's amazing, and how I actually got to see him in real life during that U.S. Junior compete against his son.
Mhm.
It's really cool to see what he's done, and the sacrifices that he's had to make, and being black myself, like the struggles he had to face growing up, and how to play golf, and how his drive and his passion kind of overruled all the things that were going against him, and he still found a way when all odds were against him. So I'm super motivated, and I think I look up to Tiger Woods.
Obviously, I mean, really, he's been. a role model to a lot of people, and being black, we're proud of him and the success that he has achieved over the whole time that he has played golf. Also, he
Mhm.
learned from his father and started off
Yeah,
very young, and so you can look at that and say, hey, I can do this, I can do this, right?
absolutely. And then another golfer that I really love the story of is two people, is Nick Pride, who was
Mhm.
the best
Was
Zimbabwean
Zimbabwean.
golfer. Exactly.
Hmm.
And I used to hear stories that my dad would tell me on how he would come back and, even though he was one of the best golfers in the world, he would still come back to Zimbabwe and play the tournaments in Zimbabwe. And when he came back, all the Zimbabweans would come and watch him. And, it's a lot of pressure for him to come back to his home country and still play well. But he would come back and win and play well. And it's really awesome.
It
And
is, and I'm sure when you went to Zimbabwe, you probably went to Borodale Brook because they started that. I mean, Nick Price. It was sold as a Nick Price piece, really,
yeah,
when the whole the whole area, people started buying pieces of land, houses, and whatever. It made it
mhm,
famous, and so yeah, definitely, Nick Price is one of our pride in Zimbabwe. I'm not
ex-
exactly sure where he is based now, in the States or in South Africa. Do
I'm not too sure
you-
nowadays. No.
Yeah, it's been some years since he's been playing. I don't know if he's still playing, but
Mm.
we are looking forward to having you one of these days, and people talking about Jules Hassig, and then obviously they'll probably refer you to Zimbabwean Jules Hassig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I don't know if you have ever thought of supporting young golfers in Zimbabwe. I know you're still a student, but just
Mhm.
an idea on helping younger Zimbabwean. I do have a friend in Zimbabwe who I'm going to bring on this program as well, who has been doing that with underprivileged kids to help them, teach them, coach them, have clinics in these areas to teach them. I don't know. Have you ever had any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Is when since I've lived in many different places, I kind of see what the junior golf is like. And in Thailand, I've noticed how it's really ahead of the time. Is you've got kids who are hard, like barely learning how to walk. You have 6, 7 year olds who are already playing competitive golf, and they've been given that opportunity. And going
Mhm.
back to Zimbabwe, there's so much talent. There's golfers that I truly believe if they have the right coach and they can be
Mhm.
the greatest golfers. So I would love to, at least contribute once I do have the time, and that I'd like to go back and help the Zimbabwean golfers because funding is so important. Just giving them the opportunity to go and play. I have noticed also that in Zimbabwe they do support junior golfers quite more than in other places. Like in Thailand, for example, it's still really expensive for younger players to play golf. Where in Zimbabwe at Royal Harare Country Club, they really encourage younger golfers to pick the game up and to continue to get better. So I would love to be able to contribute to helping the younger kids in Zimbabwe. At least give them the opportunity. You don't have to force anyone to play golf, but
Mhm.
at least give them the choice because I'm sure a lot of them will love it and will fall in love with the game just like I did.
That's fantastic. I mean, to look forward to something like that because I mean, corporate world in Zimbabwe, I'm sure they are also trying, but I do know that there uh, quite a few Zimbabweans who have interest in growing this, golf in their communities in Zimbabwe and youth, because that's the future of it. Really, it's not a small thing. I mean, golf is big.
Mhm.
I mean, you could speak on that. It's huge. It's just not like any game. It's
Yeah.
international.
No,
Mhm.
I agree. And golf, it's a small world, but it's a huge world. You
It
can
is.
go to every place of the world and play golf, but it's such a small community. Is that I've met people um, in golf that I never thought I'd meet again. It's like I'll play a golf tournament with a buddy from Zimbabwe, for example, and then a few years later, I'll play with someone in America who's met before, and there's like that connection, which is always cool to find. But in golf, it's extremely important to just put yourself out there. And I think in Zimbabwe, there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of having that opportunity to play on a bigger stage and to put your name out there and to meet new people. That's kind of what
Mhm.
kickstarts your golf journey.
So do you think it's more than everybody talks about golf being an expensive game, and it's true. The clubs, whatever. So the average person might not be able to do that. But you think there is more to it than just looking at it as an expensive game? Because I mean, talent. Somebody might have talent and really have is no resources to participate.
Yeah, and this is something that I really love about Zimbabwe is that, I mean, growing up, I didn't have all the new technology. I always had to kind of prove something. Like my dad would tell me, go and shoot this score, and then I'll buy you a new
Mhm.
club. I always had to kind of earn what I had. And in Zimbabwe, um, like what my dad, he tells me stories on when he grew up playing golf is that they would just make it work. They would use their dad's clubs and they'd
Yeah.
make it work. They'd find a way to hit that golf ball. Where nowadays I feel like technology is such a big thing that everyone's so obsessed with, the new technology, the new clubs, which can
Mhm.
get extremely expensive. So I think, going back to the pure game of golf of just, there's a golf ball that you need to hit, and it doesn't matter if it's ugly, as long as it works and you hit that ball the way you want to. I think that's awesome to me. And it's an expensive game, especially in the more modern parts of the world, like in Asia and
Mhm.
US. It takes money. You can't just go to a golf course and play for free. You need to
No.
pay, and it comes with a price. But I think if you're good enough and you can prove to people that you deserve to play the game, it'll start to open doors for you where you get invited to
Mhm.
places where memberships become cheaper. When your entries to tournaments you get discounts, and as you progress, you learn that doors open, and
Mhm.
that you have even more opportunity. It's just a matter
Mhm.
of starting, which is the difficult part.
Yeah, it's a matter of starting, and really you just improve on your skill. The more you play, the better you
Hmm.
get, the more you get known, and hey, doors open. And look at you. Look at you, you're only 19, and I'm talking to you, and I'm thinking it's just unbelievable because it's not often that you hear of somebody who got into it, and like I said, started at 14, and now 19, you're in college, you got a golf scholarship, and doors open, and getting bigger and better. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about you, to reading more about you, and your game, and what you're doing. And this is amazing, amazing stuff. Well, any last words for all the golfers out there who might have kids who probably don't encourage them? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I'd say, give people opportunities if you can, and even for yourself if you want to pursue the game. um, it's just you and the golf course out there. There's no one stopping you. There's no one that you're trying to compete against. It's just you and the golf course. I think that's what's great is golf. Not only can you become good at it and make a profession out of it, but also as a pastime. It's a lot of fun. Mentally you become stronger. You start to
Mhm.
appreciate the things around you a little bit more. And I think just spending a few hours on the golf course it's healing. It's not even to shoot a good score. It's just to be happy to be out there and enjoy the nature as well.
Jules, if I tell you this, you say, come on. Across the road there, I live in Calgary, and I live
Uh-huh.
across the road from Winston Golf Course. Across the road, if I throw a stone, it will be in the course. And there's a fence there. I live right across there. But I don't play golf, and I'm sure, like, come on, next summer I want to hear that you've started golf.
Yeah.
I started in Zimbabwe, but I never really pursued it. Um,
Hmm.
but I live right across from the from the
I,
golf
I'd say
course.
give it a try. You might like it. I think you will. You will.
I
So
will. I know I will. I know I will. Well, thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you about your about golf, and really, this is just very impressive. And I know you're going to go very far. You are passionate about it, and you have inspired us. As I said, my program, Inspired Voices, it's about talking to people and amplifying the voices of those people who are doing uh, unusual things, or maybe ordinary people who are doing extraordinary work. And this is was wonderful talking to you, and I hope to see you again and talk to you more when you hit the big one. Remember to call me because I'd like to bring you back and talk about this. Right?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. For everybody who is listening, please follow us on Inspired Voices with Sangwadzi. I'll be coming to you every Saturday, and I will see you again soon. Have a lovely day, evening, wherever you are.